y'all, this is Tasha. We are back with another review of Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 14, Episode 2. Before I jump into the video, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to all of the women that are out there who are mother figures, whatever role you're playing in someone's life as a mother. Happy Mother's Day to you. I hope your day was absolutely amazing today. And you got some rest because it's hard work out here being a mama. So hopefully you being a mom, you were able to get the day off today from being a mama. Cheers to us, okay? So we are back with another review of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Y'all do not forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and comment in the comment section below. So let's jump into the episode this week. It opens with Sonya doing some unpacking at her home with her mom and her sister. I just have to say, the three of them together are some beautiful women. Like, wow, they are gorgeous. She tells us that 9 people currently live in the home. So it's, her husband, their child, it's her parents, and then her sister, her husband, and their children as well. She basically moved everybody to Atlanta. I'm not sure where they exactly moved from. I don't think it was directly from Jamaica, maybe her parents, but I'm not sure about her sister and her family. But she basically moved them all here for a year in hopes that, after the year is over, I guess, of them living together, everybody will just want to stay, but maybe just not want to stay in the same household together. So she tells us that her sister does her hair and her mom is still her manager. We see them be basically the typical black family. They fussing over some beef patties that her mama just brought back from Jamaica, child, because we can argue over food. That's not an issue. And then basically they kind of start interacting and having some disagreements about, Sonya asking her sister how she's liking being here, and she's getting a response. And the mama's like, well, you ain't the only one that felt that way. And she's like, but she asked me, mama, that's why I'm answering it. The typical family, okay? And number one reason why I love my family, but I will always have to have my own space. Okay. We then see Sheree at home in the chateau finally with her mom, and Kenya's on the way over. She has to go and show Kenya the finished basement because if y'all remember way back when she had a housewarming, but nobody was allowed downstairs, and then Kenya and I believe it was Kandi, somebody else snuck downstairs and was able to look. She was like, ooh, now I get to actually, show it all off because, when she saw it before, it was the shade being thrown all over. And Sheree's basement, honey, fire. Like, oh my gosh, a bar, a spa, basically like a lounge. Like, it looks like you could be at a night lounge in her basement. It is fire. I absolutely love it. My only question is, where's Sheree getting all this money from? Tyrone? I don't think Bob gave her no money. How is she, when she's not on Housewives, what else is she doing to make this kind of money to pimp out that basement the way that she did? Drop that in the comments below if you know what Sheree's doing to get her coins, honey, because we're talking about Marlo, but where is Sheree getting these coins? They talk about Marlo's event and how it could have been better. And Sheree, of course, being the bone collector that she is, she tells Kenya what Marlo had to say about her, the whole white refrigerator of it all, driving Lisa Ray's car, all this nonsense. And then she calls Sonya to make sure she got the information correct. And I'm just wanting us to move on from this at this point. And then, of course, Kenya has to, she's always going to toss the shade right back and says that basically Marlo had, chia pet surgery with trying to get her edges back. And I'm like, girl, Kenya always the line is here, and she just always has to ever so slightly tip over that to where it's like, you ain't had to go there. Y'all clowned the girl when she ain't have no edges. She go to get her edges fixed, and you clown her about actually getting her edges fixed. Like, make it make sense. That was just, Kenya tells her that Drew told her that she and Sheree share an assistant. And before she could even say anything, I was like, child, it has to be that messy Anthony, that one that was basically being over the top talking to Kandi the last episode. So basically, it's a game of telephone of Drew has talking to Kandi. Kandi has talking to Kenya. Now, Kenya is talking to Sheree about this guy telling Drew that Sheree basically owes him money. And I'm just like, this is so petty. She says she hardly even ever uses the assistant, just when needed. And basically Sheree says that, Drew needs to be worried about Ralph and that assistant. And I'm just like, this is being unnecessarily shady because Drew could have went directly to Sheree about this nonsense. Or she could have just said, don't talk to me about your other clients or her assistants, and I don't even want to be in the middle of it. Like, it's that simple, girl. So we see Drew at home with her family eating dinner that her personal chef has prepared. They talk about Marlo's event and how Kandi actually brought up the assistant on IG. And Ralph said he has fired her. And Drew is like, so y'all don't talk no more? And he is like, well, I didn't say that. What? If that's your assistant and you fired her, that means y'all really have no need to continue to communicate. So what are you saying? You ain't say y'all don't talk. Anyway, Drew says that he confuses her and basically kind of keeps her on tumble dry. If you were in the dryer on tumble dry, just a smooth, warm, dry, really something that's really not going to dry your clothes fast, but it's going to keep them a little warm and fluffy for when you decide to take it out the dryer and you want to actually wear it. I just don't understand why her husband cannot be clear with her and why she acts like that's really not an issue. Anyway, he makes it clear that the woman is 50 years old trying to say that she does not have to worry. And I'm like, what 50 years old got to do with it? Have you seen 50-year-olds these days? Age ain't nothing but a number, boo. Like, that does not mean anything that she is 50 years old. So, Ralph, shut up. And then Drew says in her confessional that people say Ralph gaslights her, and she says he doesn't. And I'm like, girl, he indeed does. So she actually looks up what gaslighting means. Shady production goes back to all the times when he has indeed gaslighted her and flipped the scripts on her. And she just reads it and she's like, wow. Yeah, because the light bulb has now went off in the middle of your confession, and you don't want to embarrass your husband because you know he definitely is a gaslighter, girl. Oh God, this man is trash, and she just keeps making excuses for him. He says he wants her to say out of her mouth that she never wants him to talk to her again. Again, Ralph, you know how your wife feels about this woman. Why does she has to explicitly state she does not want you to ever talk to her again? As her husband, you should understand that this woman makes your wife uncomfortable. So therefore, you need to cut off communication with said woman to make your wife happy. It's not that hard. It really ain't that difficult. Girl, this can't be real life. This has to just be a storyline for them. There is no way this is how they live real life. There's no way. So next, Marlo is out with her manager and her oldest nephew to get him a little outfit for homecoming. Then we see Kenya at home with cutie little Brooklyn having a tea party. And Sheree at home with her daughter and her mom talking about her daughter's podcast. I'm going to have to, did she actually say the name of the podcast? If not, I'm going to have to look that up. But her daughter is full on grown. I think she's like mid 30s at this point. And she looks absolutely amazing. That short haircut she was wearing, fire, honey. Okay. Then we see Kandi talking to her Broadway co-producer because she is a producer on a new play called Thoughts of a Colored Man on Broadway. They discuss the reviews that have come out so far, and basically she's just excited to be a part of history of an all-black male cast, which is great. And if Kandi don't know how to do nothing else, she gonna make a coin. Do you hear me? So Todd comes in and asks, how she feels. And she says she feels good, but she's a little overwhelmed, but she can't do it all alone. And he's like, why you say that? Like you ever do it alone? And she was like, well, you kind of take multiple vacations throughout the year and it kind of throws off the flow. And then he says, well, you sometimes are gone for months. You don't think that disrupts the flow either? But I'm getting the vibe that Kandi leaves for work. You leave for fun. Two totally different things. Okay. All right. But they clearly have more issues, but they end up kind of just brushing it under the rug, and they go downstairs to their indoor pool room. And the pool is basically just full of chairs, furniture, lamps, plants, everything except for water to actually swim in the pool because they were redoing the pool. And I'm just like, this is nice. Like, I forgot how big Kandi's house was. Like, that is indoor. My kids would not know how to act. Do you hear me? Anyway, he goes on to say that he's going to take some of the stuff to the Jersey apartment, and Kandi gives him the side eye. And he said he purchased the apartment with his ex. Of course, things did not work out because he's now been married to Kandi for several years. But, he left, she stayed there. And then when she left, she didn't do anything with it. So, of course, because his name was still on it, he kind of got wrapped back into it and he had to actually end up paying for it. So he's like, it's mine now. Kandi is like, I don't want to go there because, that's his place with his ex and I don't blame her. Why do we need to either rent it out or sell it? Okay, that's that. But she's like, my name is not on that. And he said, well, my name not on this. And I said, well, touche. I don't have a dog in this fight between the two of y'all. So we then see Marlo showing up to the candy factory, and she is just asking the driver if this is a rough neighborhood as he is driving. And he's kind of like, yeah, a little bit, but it ain't as rough as it used to be. Marlo just be shady for no reason at all. Anyway, we see Kandi is dressed in a Halloween costume doing some sort of photo shoot at the factory. They talk about how cute her nephews were at the little archive event. And we then see Marlo in this confessional with this short hair and like these gold accessories. And I love everything about this look, y'all. Again, we have to recap the gossip of the event. And Kandi said, my only question was how much you paid for all this. And Marlo is like, girl, you always concerned about the coin, but don't worry about it. I got it. And Uncle Sam gets his cut too. So I said, okay, just make sure the books are straight, Marlo. Okay. And then she goes to tell Kandi that with her nephews, she feels like she is just giving and giving and giving. And she's having a very rough time when Kandi asks her about it. And she kind of goes into, well, the things that they have and, them being little black boys. And Candy's like, but why does it seem like black people always need to struggle? And I completely agree with that. It's like all other ethnicities and kids, they can have nice things and it's normal. So why can't your black nephews have nice things and it just be normal and not that you feel like, you spoiling them, you not, making them have to rough it out here. Like, why? Why do they need to if you have it? I know if I was, making that kind of money, my kids ain't got to. You still going to be humble and know that things just out here ain't free. But I'm going to let you live a life of luxury. Marlo goes on to tell Kandi that she needs a village and Kandi has never invited her over for a movie night or anything because, she wants the nephews to see kind of what a family looks like. And Candy's like, well, first you kind of got to be the company that you want to attract. And I was like, that is right. Because Marlo do be hella shady to everybody. So you can't expect to be shady to everybody and then expect everybody to come and be your village with your nephews, girl. But she said, you can come over anytime. She's like, girl, come on over right now. Candy not about to come over your house right now. Cut it out, Marlo. So next we see Drew is doing Drop It with Drew with her husband and her assistant. Ralph tells her to, keep her schedule clear because he's going to plan something nice for them. And this man just always looks sneaky to me, like always look like he is up to no good. Is it just me or does he give off that vibe to y'all too? It's just like everything is like something is up his sleeve. I'm doing this so then I can do that later and you won't have nothing to say about it. Is the vibe that I get from him all the time. So next we see Todd go to Blaze. He meets up with Ralph and Ross, which is Sonya's husband. I'm sorry. Ralph talks about the workout they did with Sonya and Ross and basically how they kick their butts. Of course, they're two athletes. They talk about their age differences among each other and where they are with their family and kids. Todd is the oldest, but of course he has, two young kids with Ace and Blaze. And then Ross tells them how, that he actually wants to get another child. And he does ask Todd, basically how he and Kandi do it because Kandi is busy as well. But I guess production kind of just cut that out because we never really get an answer about it. They then jump into the assistant conversation again. This is like the fourth time at this point in the episode. And I just hope this is not the thing for the season, or at least the first half of the season. Like, let's wrap it up with this episode and leave it alone. Okay? Thank you. So Todd asks Ralph about it. And Todd is basically like, here comes the bullshit. And he laughs, but he gives the laughs, but it's true. I know what he's going to say is bullshit. And we all know it as well, Todd. He says he couldn't find a place to get a massage in Atlanta. And Todd is like, yeah, all the places in Atlanta just booked her getting a massage. Wink, wink. Like, yeah, right. Wow, Ralph, this is, you cannot tell me all the massage envies, the urban nirvana, everybody in the Atlanta area, nobody can give you a massage. Your wife over here with 4, 5, 6, 7 assistants and you can't get a massage. Okay, Ralph. But they bring up, of course, how, she acts and he used the whole I'm a man, and the men kind of just joke around about it. And you can tell Ross and Todd are kind of like, ha, 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 ha. This shit would never fly with my wife. And I'm just not understanding why you are doing this, sir. Like, you need to make sure your wife is straight at home instead of playing these childish games. And then Ralph goes into the confessional and he talks about, being a man is just like men who, say they're going to take the medicine and then they don't take the medicine. It's just being a man. Like, they start bubbling up all the question marks because, again, Ralph is still making absolutely zero sense. And then he just wraps it all up in the end saying that Drew shouldn't have been going through his phone. So that tells you all you need to know right there, Drew. All you need to know, honey. Todd then tells him about the apartment, and Ralph asks, why she doesn't want him to have it. And he's like, man, these women don't want us to have our own shit. No, it's because the apartment, it was something you bought and intended to live with your ex. Quit acting like you don't know why Kandi don't want you to be there or why she don't want to go there, Todd. Quit playing in our face. So we then see Marlo at home with her managers and her nephews, which her managers are a married couple. And she just tells us, how life has been going with them, how her little nephew came to her one day and was like, Auntie, something's happening down there. And she's like, I don't want to know. I don't want to see. She got the male assistant. She's like, come on and deal with this because I'm not a man. I ain't got time to deal with whatever is happening at this age with him. Okay. So she tries to show her nephew how to dance for his little homecoming dance. And she basically wants him to give him and the girl church hug distance apart. You don't need to be close or nothing, but whatever. They ain't gonna do nothing but do TikTok dances anyway at these dances. He then gets ready and he's such a handsome little boy. Marlo tells us, that foster care when she was growing up was her safe haven. And she tells us a little bit more about her childhood. And she's basically saying that she's kind of doing all these things for her nephews because she really wants them to have the memories that she did not have growing up. So we then switch over to Drew, and she is at home getting dressed in this horrible Tina Turner replica-like dress with her booty literally hanging out of this dress for her date that Ralph has surprised her with. So she shows us throughout the day he has surprised her with flowers, a glam team to get her ready, and her assistant number 3 is there to drive her to the date. I'm like, this is so cute. And if it was any other couple, this would be so cute and I would be here for it. But because it's Ralph and Drew, I don't really care. And I'm still trying to figure out why she needs so many assistants. Okay. So she shows up to his tailor showroom and she's like, I don't know why we are here. And we're like, we don't know why we are here either, until he takes her outside to the rooftop where he has roses and a cute little dinner table and things set up for them. She asks why all of this. And he says that sometimes he can be an asshole. Yeah, a lot of times. But he wants her to see, he is here for her and the family. She appreciates it, but says she doesn't want them to continue to have these extreme highs and these extreme lows. He said he has learned in therapy that his order of priority needs to be God himself and then his family, because too many men put God, their family, and then themselves afterwards. But basically, he got to watch out for him first. Okay. And then she tells us that sometimes she has to find herself walking on eggshells as to not rock the boat. And she's basically saying she's doing it in the very moment as to not ruin the night for them. He says he wants to use the night to just focus, on each other, enjoy each other's company, and just leave the rest to marriage counseling. She says that this shows that we can make it. I said one day of him being a decent husband shows that y'all can make it, Drew. Do you hear yourself? He says if she appreciates it's cool. If she doesn't appreciate it, cool. So being very passive aggressive. He says he's going to have a session. He's going to schedule a session with Dr. Ken, who is their therapist, y'all. He is going to schedule a session for Drew so that Drew can be taught how to talk to men appropriately. He is going to schedule a session so Drew can learn how to talk to men appropriately. Y'all, if Ralph don't get out of my face, he is not good looking enough for all this mess that she's putting up with. She says she will do the same, and then basically says, well, you remember Dr. Ken called you the maniac, and he said, all these degrees I got and how successful I am, I can't be no maniac. She reads the definition of what a maniac is, and he says it's an East Coast thing. Child, if Ralph don't do nothing else, he gonna pass the buck and pass the blame onto something else that has no relevance to the situation that's at hand. Like, he is gonna deflect until he can't anymore. Like, this is this is laughable at this point, y'all. I am sorry. So basically their night ends up going sour because she says she can't express herself, and she cries and gets up from the table. And as she's crying, he's just asking her if she's ready for dessert. She says she has no idea why communication triggers Ralph, and she is tired. And she says, and he says tonight wasn't the night to try to fix everything. And she asks, to talk. And he says that maybe, I was just doing too much and I just really regret doing this. And I'm just like, Ralph can't hold any responsibility for himself. While I don't necessarily disagree that maybe tonight wasn't the appropriate time to bring up all these issues, Drew, because y'all issues ain't going nowhere. Have a good night, and these issues will still be here tomorrow for y'all to discuss. But still, his reaction to it is still inappropriate. Like, my dude, you shouldn't be getting this pissed at your wife because she is trying to communicate with you. Like, at this stage in the game in y'all marriage, this should be something y'all are consistently working on and shouldn't be this big of a hurdle still. If it is still this big of an issue, y'all have gone to therapy, y'all tried to make it work, Ralph still be out here being sneaky, maybe y'all just not meant to be together no more. I know that's a hard realization to come to, again, and that's taking in that if all of this is actually real that y'all are going through, but it ain't worth this nonsense that you are going through, sis, and being embarrassed on national TV. It just ain't anyway. Child, that's how the episode went off. And we'll be back next week, of course, with more drama from the Real Housewives of Atlanta ladies. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode tonight. Again, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be here next week. Same time, same place. Peace.